Today I made Claude's Fable 5 and OpenAI's GPT 5.6, known as Sol, build the same mobile app. Same concept, same prompts, same iPhone, and in the same afternoon. One of them basically pulled it off. Full feature set, functional on the first pass, a few tweaks I'd say, and it would be publishable. The other one built a broken dumpster fire. And I will be straight with you, I did have a feeling how this might go based on my own daily use of both models. So I made the test properly hard to really strain both models. Now the usual hype cycle applies to both of these models. The releases are supposedly comparable at coding. Every benchmark saying something different, nothing new there. The one thing that everybody does seem to agree on is that GPT Sol is much faster. And that part was definitely true. Codex finished its task 10 times faster than Fable did. The question is whether it can actually compete while also being faster. And so the test had to be something good, something mobile only, something a web app could not do. A really good concept for that is a star map night sky app. That's going to be gyroscopes, magnetometers, accelerometers, GPS hardware, real astronomical data, and math that has to be exactly right or the whole thing will end up just pointing at the floor. And it still has to look good UI-wise. And so, let's get into it. So I'm gonna do this in two levels. I've got Claude and I've got ChatGPT open. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a conversation independently with both of them so that I can put together some design files and some screens. And then I'm gonna evaluate this. I'm gonna fire the prompts that Claude and ChatGPT give me into Google Stitch to set up some designs. And then when I find the initial prompt for the app and the designs that I like the best, we'll score ChatGPT versus Claude, and then we'll move on using the winning prompt. Then we'll build out the actual app with both of the models and compare the final result. So I'm gonna go ahead and spend maybe 10 minutes just chatting away to Claude, asking about the app, trying to figure out which libraries we need, what features we wanna have, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with ChatGPT. So I'll hit the audio transcriber and get into it. Let's build a mobile application. This is going to be a stargazing application. Okay, so I've spent a few minutes having conversations with Claude and having conversations with ChatGPT. It's given me some ideas. To be honest, I preferred Claude's name for the app. It's going to be Lucida, which is the brightest star in a constellation. ChatGPT gave me really generic names like Look Up, so the naming of the app, I've got to hand it to Claude Fable 5. And then I kept conversing and we got together some ideas about screens. What was useful is that both of the models suggested more or less the same tech. So far I have liked Fable 5's naming and ideation a lot more. That's a definite win for Fable 5 in terms of brainstorming the app. So we have libraries that can do astronomical calculations, like Astronomy Engine. There's also libraries for sensors and things. I'm definitely going to use React Native Expo for both of these applications. So Expo Sensors was the one that both models picked, and of course Expo Location and that kind of stuff. So that was interesting. And also React Native Skia, that's a Shopify library, and Reanimated, they were very consistent about this. And they were more or less consistent about where we would get the different catalogs. There's a star catalog here from HYG. So yeah, technically speaking, in terms of math, they were more or less the same. So now I'm pretty interested to see what they're going to do in terms of design. This is a prompt for Google Stitch that Claude has given me. So I'm just gonna paste this in and see what it comes up with in terms of screens. I also got one from ChatGPT. So I'm going to copy that in a different Google Stitch window, and I'm going to fire that into Google Stitch, and we'll see which one comes up with the nicer design for my app. Now, while those designs are running, I'm going to scaffold the code base, and I always do this with my own template. What this prompt will do is it will go up to my GitHub, grab a template that I always use for starting out an app. This is a huge time saver when I'm making new apps, and this prompt is completely free. Just check out the link in the description and you'll be able to grab this prompt. So I will take the prompt, I will head over to Claude Code inside of VS Code, and I will fire it in here. This is going to create a ready to go React Native application waiting for design files and design structure to create it into a unique app. From this foundation, I'm going to diverge in terms of what Claude Code is going to give me and in terms of what GPT Sol is going to give me. I am going to call the app Lucida in both cases. I do just like that name, but bearing in mind that that actually was Fable 5's suggestion. And while that prompt is running, we can head back to Google Stitch and see how it's doing. Okay, so the idea really was that you could open up the app. Then when you point the app at the sky, it will kind of wait for a second and then it will draw out the constellation or the planet or the astronomical feature that is right there, as opposed to just giving you this cluttered sort of star map, the way that Night Sky and these astronomy apps seem to do. And then, yeah, it gives you a little bit of information. This is what Fable 5 was suggesting in its brief. And let's see what GPT has come up with. Obviously, it's also a dark mode pattern. Let's see, I got nothing here. Okay, so we got the moon. Oh, that actually looks pretty nice. In terms of design, I don't hate this at all. It's a bit more bare bones, but yeah, it's basically the same idea. You're looking at the sky. I did actually kind of give ChatGPT Fable 5's idea of pointing at the sky, because it was giving me like a go find Jupiter, go find the moon kind of thing, and I didn't really like that, so I did actually guide it a little bit. So far, Fable 5's ideas I have liked a lot better. But GPT wasn't too far behind, and you could definitely tweak GPT in terms of what you think are cool features in your application. There's no issue with that. Okay, so heading back to Claude Code. Now I realize I have used Claude Code to scaffold this together. I really think that GPT is going to be able to handle this just as well. It's a very specific prompt. So I am going to open up the new Lucida folder here in Claude Code. And at this point, I actually am going to open a new session of Claude Code and also open a new session of Codex. So I can actually run these two side by side. Okay, and just to double check as well, we are on 5.6 Sol, and if I run /model in Claude Code, I will see that I am on Fable 5. Incidentally, before I start building out the app, there's one really important job that I need to do. I want to test this on my phone. In fact, I want to see the AI build this out on my phone as I go along, my real iPhone. So for an iOS app, I'm going to send this off to a service called EAS. For that, I'm going to run a command EAS init. This is going to create a project with EAS, which is Expo Application Services, and this is going to enable me to create a development build on my phone. This is hugely powerful. This way you can build for the platform iOS, and it's going to have the profile of a development build. That means that all of the files that are running here in VS Code are actually going to be reflected on my physical device, and I don't even need to plug the phone into the computer. It all happens over the local network, which will be my Wi-Fi. So if I go ahead and run this, it'll take maybe 15 minutes. It will do all of the signing. It will create the bones of the iOS application, and it actually integrates with my own Apple developer account. This is hugely powerful. And it's something that a lot of tools like Flutterflow and other no-code things, they don't do this. It even sets up things like push notifications. It sets up API keys. It sets up push keys. It can even create the App Store listing for you in App Store Connect. And that's what we'll do at the end of the video. But for now, we just want to set up this shell so that we can install it directly on the iPhone itself. So I'm gonna give this 15 minutes and then we're gonna start building. All right, so my build is completed and Expo has sent me back a QR code. Now you might have noticed that a lot of tutorials that claim to teach mobile app development don't actually seem to build things on actual mobile devices. This is the app installed. We've got the home screen icon now and it's got the app name. Basically what Expo does is it connects what's installed on your phone with what's going on in VS Code or in your preferred code editor. What I do is I say npx expo start, as simple as that. That gives another QR code, and now I can connect the code that's running on my laptop with the code that is installed in the app bundle. Those two together will give me the bare bones app, and now I can apply my Claude Code and my Codex prompt to it. This is a template that I've put together myself. As I say, it's completely free to do this. There's a whole guide. Just check the link in the description. It will get you this far and well beyond. Now, the really cool thing here is that I've actually installed already a whole bunch of libraries that are going to help me. The really relevant ones here are ones like Expo Sensors, also things like Keep Awake, and then there's Astronomy Engine, and then React Native Skia. These ones are super important for this particular app because it's an astronomy app that I'm going to build. And what I'm going to do is it's going to be like Night Sky, where you can move the phone around and then it will be able to interpret where in the sky it's looking at without using the camera. This is something that only a native app can do. You can't just install a PWA or a web app on your phone and expect it to be able to function in this way with such deeply native functionality. Anyway, that'll make more sense when Claude Code and Codex start building the app itself. So, I have all of the context from this conversation. This entire conversation has all the details about all of the math, all of the astronomy, all of the features, all of the styles, all of the screens. Have as long a conversation as you want with Claude, and when you're done, just ask it to spit out the Claude Code prompt. Easy as that. Now, you could do this in Claude Code in plan mode, but I prefer not to pollute the context. That's why I do it in different places. And now I'm going to do the same thing for Sol. I'm just going to say create the master prompt for Codex. All of the details, be comprehensive about the entire long conversation that we have had about this. And remember, you can, of course, just be transcribing all of this the whole time. You don't even need to type out the conversation. Just have an audio conversation with the AI, get together the designs, the architecture, the math, everything, and then just have it spit out a big master prompt. Very often, you can crack out 80% of the app with just this one prompt, but it has to be comprehensive enough. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to go to Google Stitch and I'm going to select everything and I'm going to grab these files because I am going to give those to Claude Code and to Codex as well. Okay. When it came to writing out the design prompts, I have to give GPT-Sol the edge here. Its initial prompt did create, in my opinion, a much more polished look. And so that's the one that I decided to run with. So I will paste the location of these design files that I just downloaded from Google Stitch. I will head back to ChatGPT. I will grab the master prompt and paste it directly into Codex right below the location of the files from Google Stitch. And then I will do the same thing for Claude Code. Very often I end up getting a document from Claude on the web, so I will hit copy on this and paste that into Claude Code. There's one more thing that I want to do as well. I want to tell Claude Code and Codex to create a Git branch. Okay, so now Codex will be running another version of this in parallel. Claude Code will be running another version of this in parallel. This is going to isolate the different development builds between Codex and Claude Code. You can do this anytime you want for any features. So now I'm going to let this run. This is the main prompt, and I'm actually going to be able to watch my features getting built out by the AIs in real time on my phone. So, got some stuff happening already, and you'll see the errors coming through as the AI starts half building certain code files. Then the errors will go away when it completes those files. Okay, so these initial prompts are done, and now I'm going to boot up the Codex app and take a look. Bear in mind that this is the first pass, but I'm basically just gonna move the app around the room. And yeah, it doesn't actually seem to be moving across the star map. The star map is kind of vague. It's sort of in the background. I can't really make out any features. The compass jumps around a lot, but it kind of, you can see it gets to the edge almost when I pull it towards the right. This isn't really doing anything at all. I'll leave it static. Oh yeah, now it opens up the Orion. I'll go into the details page. This is a nice design. Gets me the detail page that I was looking for. I'll go to the menu here. Got to Night Sky. Got some pretty crude graphics in terms of the different planets. But tonight we can see Pleiades, for example. I'll try locate. And let's see. Okay, it just kind of jumps around. This is not particularly impressive. I don't think I particularly like Codex's attempt at this, because the real feature of this thing was to be able to move the thing around, and it doesn't seem to be responding to the gyroscope at all. Now, Codex undoubtedly did take the prize for speed. It did complete its prompt in a fraction of the time that Fable 5 did. It would just be nice if these super fast prompts would actually build an app instead of nothing. All right, not super impressed. I'm gonna move on to Claude. So I have different Git work trees running here, so I'm just gonna move into the Claude work tree for Lucida, hit refresh one more time, and now it'll reload into the Claude version. Okay, star map looks a bit blurry, but it actually does move around the room. I'm panning it now left and right. I'm panning it upwards. Okay, this is a lot more encouraging. Let's see if I can find any features. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Actually, we did get a feature. I had Leo appear. It did not do the entire full screen area of the detail page. That was something that probably is easy to fix. But what I am noticing is a little bit of jank here. There's some delay because it's obviously doing the math on the fly. And so it's actually kind of bouncing a little bit in a way that it shouldn't be. I don't know if these things are fixable or not. Hopefully they are. So I will check out tonight. Actually, I really much prefer this design to what Codex did. I'll look for Arcturus. The background doesn't work. That is an easy fix, but you are having the detail page overlay without a background, so obviously it's unreadable. But it's a really easy fix, so I won't give it too hard a time for that. So I will try and find a constellation in the sky. And yeah, actually I can follow this arrow. Oh, that's pretty cool. It actually has this little animation, and then it'll show me Ursa Major. Get some more information about Ursa Major. Yeah, that's actually quite nice. This really seems a whole lot closer to what I was going for. Okay, let's have a look at the library as well. And yeah, we've got all of our constellations here. We can get some information about them. That is a lot further than Codex got, to be honest. It doesn't have everything. I mean, I definitely would want to get some maybe unsplash images, but Codex didn't do any better either in terms of getting images for the planets, that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, this broadly works. I could definitely tweak this. We do have the math basically working, and that's kind of the important part about this app. So, the verdict. Now, it wasn't even close. Fable built a working star map, sensors talking to each other. The math needed optimizing, and the UI needed very critical bug fixes, but those all seemed very doable. The UI was definitely workable. Codex kind of built something that sort of looked like a star map until you actually tried to do anything, so the app was totally unusable, and I suspect that was probably because it couldn't nail the internal math. So yeah, it was 10 times faster at building a janky, broken app. One test isn't a benchmark, and I will keep running similar ones, but if you are starting a new mobile app project this week and wondering which model to use, Fable 5 kicked Sol's ass. So why did Anthropic win? I have a hot take. The impression I've always gotten is that OpenAI is obsessed with seeming human, even at the expense of being accurate. I think that's because if it feels more human, it'll feel closer to being AGI, so it optimizes for speed, it optimizes for polish, it optimizes for chat. And you might have noticed that ChatGPT has started saying things like, "I've seen this before," and "in my opinion," which makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit every time I hear it. Anthropic does optimize for whether the thing works, which is why its secondary tools like its voice transcriber are so comparatively shit. That is a trade-off I'm definitely willing to make for something that builds software so well. Opus 5 is the next one to test. I will do that soon. In the meantime, my mobile development with AI course is completely free. The exact prompts that I used in this video are inside, and by the end of it, you will have a working production-ready mobile application running on your device. Links in the description, and I will see you in the next one.